So the Strangers as Dreams project started out with me and Andrew just chilling in his dorm room, and both of us really want to change the world, build a sense of community and show people what's possible, and that trusting a stranger isn't something that should be disregarded because a stranger at the end of the day is just a friend you haven't met yet. We're like, how can we change people's lives? And then dreams got associated with it, and at one point we kind of just decided that what if we were to just go out in public, find strangers, find out what their dreams were, and then make them happen.
My creation was broken by greed, and now I stand alone, shaded by love leaves. Now my feet stand cold, my stomach upside down.
So the most difficult part was obviously getting support from people. The idea of the project was to build a sense of, not just build a community, but also use your network to make this happen all on favors. The idea was to not have to spend any money to do with this, not just because Drew and I didn't really have the money to give out to this project, but also we wanted to show to the world that people are willing to devote their resources and time just out of the kindness of their own hearts. And so the way we actually cut the venue was really random. I was sitting down getting my hair cut by my barber, and as you normally chat with your barber, I told him about the project we were currently working on, and then I just kind of mentioned that we were looking for a venue and that we reached out to a couple of these places, but no one was really willing to do it. And then he kind of just stepped back and said, "You could use my barbershop." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?" So from a viewer's point, you're thinking, a barbershop? Why would you use a barbershop? But when you get to see the barbershop, you'll understand like why this is a perfect venue. It was modern, it was nice, there's a pool table in the middle, there's lots of lighting, and it was just an awesome environment to have a bunch of people to listen to these strangers accomplish their dreams. And it happened completely on a whim. We had no expectations. We didn't know how we were going to do it, but it goes to show that just by putting yourself out there and telling the most amount of people possible, even the ones you least suspect to help you out, you will eventually find someone who's willing to help you out. And in this case, Carlos offered his barbershop, Sharp Cuts Montreal, which was the venue for our event.
My head in my hands, good grief. I thought she'd be mine in a matter of time. I tried so hard, but I get nowhere. Saying beautiful things, all I get is a stare. Am I getting somewhere? I guess love's just not fair. No, no, no. No, no, no. I'm not satisfied. I need a reply, and I might find some well-deserved justice for love, but I can't hide the things that come to light. Oh, jury's out. I don't have a clue what happened to you. You changed your mind, took a 180 on me, and next thing you know, you're coming back saying, "See, I still love you. Take me back through 16." No, no, no. No, no, no. See, I'm not the kind I'll give you peace of my mind, and I might find some well-deserved justice for love, but I can't hide the things that come to light. Oh, jury's out, just like the push and pull of the tide. I'm out at sea, there's nothing here left for me. I'm done with you and all of your games. I gotta find a way to break these chains. I don't know how. Lord, help me now. Well, I'm not the kind I'll give you a piece of my mind, and I might find some well-deserved justice for love, but I can't hide the things that come to light. Oh, jury's out.
So, a few things. First of all, we just want to thank our sponsors for the night. You know, as much as it's
Yeah.
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 Let's go. As much as it can seem like you're just showing up and it's all happening, there's been a lot of people and a lot of companies behind it. One of them is Kombu.
Kombucha, it's basically kombucha, but yeah, Kombu.
Kombucha, which came all the way from Drummondville.
Drummondville, yeah.
We have, what's the name of the catering company?
Aniko, Chef Aniko Catering Company. She's super nice. She hooked up all the platters, and I think the craziest one, the reason we're all here today, is because Sharp Cuts Barber Carlos over there hooking it up.
If you wanna look him up on Instagram, it's Sharp
Cuts or just
Montreal, or you can look that up. Have a look, check it out. Yeah, the guy's a legend. Let's give him a round of applause. And Steven was getting a haircut and then brought up the project to his barber, right? To
exactly. So he was, you know, doing the fade like he does, and then I just told him we're working on this insane project. I'm just telling him randomly, like, we're looking to have a grand finale. We're just looking for a venue, not sure really like what to do about it. And he's like, "You could have my shop." And I turn around and I'm like, for real? And he's like, "Yeah." So I finished my haircut, and then I go out, and the first thing I did is I called Drew, and I was like, "Dude, we have a fucking venue!"
Yeah. And I was pretty stoked.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it's all about just putting yourself out there, and you never know who you're gonna meet. Like I came in to get my haircut, and look at where we are now.
Along the way, it hasn't been all this smooth. So I thought that with Steven, I would make him recount some of the funny moments along the way that have happened from the time, I mean, you know, we first met Julian, through to the dinner party, through to, so yeah, Steven, you know, I'll jump in, but bro.
Awesome. All right, well, so it all started when I came back from Los Angeles, and I was super motivated to hang out with all these people from Yes Fam Montreal, which is a Facebook group that follows a YouTube channel called Yes Theory. A lot of you know about them. And so they're like a following here in Montreal, and the idea is to seek discomfort, get out of your comfort zone, and go on new adventures. And I met these guys in LA, and then I found out that there's a subgroup in Montreal. So when I came back, I was super excited. On the plane, I write a Facebook message. I was like, "Guys, I just came back from LA. I know none of you know me, but who wants to go homeless for 24 hours? And guess what? Nobody fucking answered. Not one. Actually, I think Zed did, it's true, but then he said he can't come. So, and then I started telling people, "Oh yeah, I'll do it solo, no problem." Well, obviously I didn't because it started raining and I chickened out of it. So, not a problem though, because the next Tuesday, so 2 days later, we all go to Julian's house. And I didn't know Julian at the time. I didn't know Drew, and I didn't know anyone in this room, and some of you I met there. We just had a really good time, talked about a bunch of stuff, what we wanted to do, our plans, and then the night was basically wrapping up, and there was 4 people left. There was Drew, Julian, Hannah, and I. And Drew has this genius idea, and he goes, "Let's just stare into each other's eyes." And we're like, "Oh yeah, that's easy, I could do that." So first me and Julian started doing it, and well, we couldn't stop laughing for about like 10 minutes just by looking at each other. And I was like, "Man, am I really that ugly?" But I was laughing just as hard. So then, like, I don't know if you were thinking the same thing. It really made me self-conscious at that moment. And then after that, I had to stare into Andrew's eyes, and that was like the most overpowering thing I've ever done in my life. I couldn't talk after for like 5 minutes. Like, they're like, "Steven, talk," and I was like, I don't know. I mean, he must be really good with the ladies, man, because like he just made me speechless. So then after that, we never looked back. 2 days later, we started giving out hugs, strangers in public, with Zed. Drew was there, Juliet, some other people. Julian was there too, yeah, that's true. We thought it was such a great idea, and people were so happy. And at like the peak of our high of giving hugs to people, the security guard walks up because we're inside the Eaton Center, and he's like, "You guys have to leave." And I think Drew turns around, he's like, "You want a hug?" And the guy's like, "No." And it just like shut the whole thing down.
He accepted a fist bump. He was like, "Here, bro," and I was like, "All right."
So we did that, and then was the dinner party next? I think the dinner party was next. So with Zed and Juliet, because Andrew was doing boring stuff like studying, we decided to throw a dinner party for strangers, but we invited people on campus in person. and thinking they would all show up because it's on a university campus and people are open-minded and cool and they want to party. Well, I think like one person showed up out of like the 500 that we asked. Everyone would just weren't really prepared. We'd kind of just like stop people in the hallway and just be like, "Want to come to our dinner party tonight?" And they were just like, "Yeah, I'll be there." I don't know why, but they just didn't show up. So that happened. That was a lot of fun.
But one other funny thing that happened, Steven, you have to tell this one, of when we're walking down the street at McGill and I started talking about the weather.
Oh, right. We're trying to find some people to come to the dinner party, and more specifically, to be honest, we're trying to find girls to come to the dinner party because usually when girls flock, 10 times the amount of guys flock after them. So it's good marketing. So there's these two girls walking behind us, and there was Drew, me, Zed, Juliet, and Drew starts talking to them, and his perfect pickup line is, "So the weather's nice today, right?" The girl's like, "Oh yeah, you know, it's okay." And then Zed turns around, full confidence, and goes, "So what are you doing tonight?" Unfortunately, they were busy, but it was a really awesome try, and it was probably one of the funniest moments in my life that I'll never forget. So thank you, Zed, for making that happen.
So some funny stuff is happening.
Along the way, it's just been a wild adventure, and just the takeaway from all of this is just put yourself out there because who knows what'll happen. And I've changed my life a lot in the past year. I've changed drastically. I used to be someone very comfortable. And then now I have permanently written on the side of my arm, "Seek discomfort," because I realized that I want to live my life in such a way that I always go on adventures. I don't do what the norm is, and to me, that's just the best way to live. And I feel like a lot of people have that same idea in their head, and this is why we're throwing events like this to show you guys that we're just normal people. Like there's nothing special about us. Most of all this planning was done in my bedroom with me and Drew sitting on my bed.
What is considered normal?
Normal?
Yeah.
So what if you go out onto the street and ask people like, you know, like, what are you studying at school? Or like, you know, stuff like just like normal stuff that is comfortable. Is like, you know, I'm not saying that going to school is a bad thing. It's a fantastic tool to getting to where you want to be. It really is. If you're passionate about it, that's the key. But I find a lot of people get lost along the way just because they feel like they need a degree to succeed, and that's entirely not the case.
Me and Andrew believe a lot in emotional attachment to something, that if you want to engage your audience, they have to be emotionally attached to it, and that's when they're going to give their full potential. And when Julian was playing and we looked around and we could see even some of the people had tears in their eyes because they were so proud that he was finally displaying his music, we knew that we have accomplished our goal. It's getting people emotionally attached to this project. And we felt emotional too because we had put all our time into this and we had zero expectations and we didn't know if it was gonna pass, it was gonna fail. We had no experience, we've never done anything like this before. And knowing that we accomplished it and we've changed the lives of not only the artists who played, but changed the lives of people who went there because they experienced this, felt absolutely unreal. And even now, it still gives me chills when I just think back to that project. I remember after the night was over, I went home and I kind of just laid down in my bed and I just thought about everything we accomplished in the last 3 weeks, just from starting with 2 signs and 2 guys walking around with a bunch of strangers. It's absolutely unreal what we're able to pull off, but it goes to show that trusting a stranger isn't weird because a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet, and by putting yourself out there, you can accomplish things that really seem impossible when you first set out to them.